Okay, here we go in the winter white. Um, Something else too, also about timing um, in the new book. Yes, I wanted them to have time because you figure, okay, September 39, you might as well say that's 1940. You figure 41, 42. I think Paris was occupied in 1940, if I'm not mistaken. I don't hold me to any of this stuff because I'm not, I didn't research it right this minute, but it's in the back of my brain. I believe it was about 1940. Um, that would, if he had come to Paris with the occupying team, I guess you would call it, um, it would have been too early for them to have this built this intimacy uh, together. So um, also too, I didn't want them in this kind of limbo of, floating around because see, right, we know the war ended in 1945. We know that, but of course they wouldn't have known that. And I didn't want them to be in this kind of floating stasis of, just kind of, it has to be end to things, just like in autumn, I had to end it, you know. So, the actual end of the war is an intricate part of the story that they carry on this relationship for a couple of years. The thing about it is that's different from the first draft is that the first draft the officer is stationed in Paris, so he's there where she is, uh, and more or less that's how their intimacy builds because he's stationed there. This man um, is he's not stationed in Paris. He's, like I said, he's stationed in the East, and they only see each other. Of course, he can't just walk off and come, whenever he feels like it. So they spend weekends here and there and weeks here and there and those kind of things. Oh, and the reason she's at the spa is that the club is being redecorated, renovated. So that's why she has a little vacation. And her daughter is very, very little, but she's with her grandparents. So she's the safest place you could be with her grandparents. So I mean, those are kind of things you stop and think about, because of course, being a woman, I wouldn't leave. Oh my gosh, I didn't want to leave the room when my son was like 1 or 9 months or in that uh, period. And why would she be away from the nightclub for that length of time? It's because it's being renovated, and where's her daughter at this time is with her, is with her parents. Her parents have come from England. I haven't worked all that stuff out. Anyway, what was I? Oh, um, when the war is getting ready to end is an important uh, part of the whole story. Is that what galvanizes him into taking certain actions? And he's once again, he's going, I gotta go to Germany and I've got to try to do this, and she it's just an important part of the story. So I didn't want them in this weird kind of stasis of, like I said before, I wanted them to have time enough for their relationship to grow through these letters, through all this correspondence, and that there be an end in sight. We know the end is near. They don't know, of course, but we know. So, and when the war is looking like it's ending, and well, I don't want to go into, that because that's going to tell way too much. And I'm acting like a million people are going to see this before the book comes out. Nobody's going to see it probably until the book comes out, but maybe, I don't know. Well, that's what I thought. I thought to get a agent interested to tell them, well, go on my YouTube and, see what I said about the book, and then you can see from that more or less, because when you send a query letter, basically what you do is you give a synopsis of what the book's about. Big deal. What can I write in a paragraph? Black chick thinks she's going to meet a black guy, is really a white guy, and he's really come on, that's it. You can't express yourself. But I thought if someone could see me talking, see me in moving, see me talk about the book, that maybe it'll and then plus two, they'll realize, hey man, that's good, I got to get in on that, because I'm not trying to let this be the mistake of my life. But yeah, so the timing is very, very, very important as to when the when Paris gets liberated. There's an important time period in there, that and things that need to happen towards the end of the German occupation. There's That's integral to the story, because that's how it has to end. That's how it has to end, is that that's how it ends. So the story coincides. Well, actually, the war is over the very last time they see each other. But that's all I'm going to say, because that's I don't want to give too much away. But what I wanted to talk about was, I want to drop that in there before I forget, because I hate to leave things hanging. But what I wanted to talk about was Native Son. And let me say, before I even start, I do not have time to review any books. I do not have any time to ghostwrite, because I'm writing for myself. Um, and not any heavy duty editing. I did help a friend, but it was more or less a critique. I don't have time for that, and I'm not going to work on someone else's book when I need to work on mine. But I will consider maybe some short. So anyway, I don't know. Maybe email me. I don't know what I feel like actually doing now, and if it's going to be cost effective for me to do that kind of work. Um, I think I said it before. Native Son is the Bible. It's the first book I read when I went inside my brain and went, "That's how you do it. That's how it's done. That's how it's done." And I think I mentioned it before. Maybe one of my very first videos. I think I got like 60 videos out now. Man, I'm rocking and rolling. I love it. It's fun. But the first time I read Native Son, I was like in the ninth grade. And you know how kids read things when they're in the eighth and ninth grade. They want to wonder what is this going to be on the test, And the only thing you wanted to do was read it enough so that I could answer questions on the test, you know. And so I just kind of went through it and went, yeah, whatever, I didn't even get it. I skipped over the passages I should have studied, every single word. So to give you a little synopsis of the story, actually, um, oh, and like I said before, the character Bigger Thomas is my character, my villain in Autumn is absolutely just, patterned after him. Absolutely patterned after him. And the same metamorphosis that they go through from just, scared little boo-boo darky to a man that kind of comes to realize that he could have made different choices in his life, and that they do have some control over their life, and they both are in the position they're in because of acts of violence. Um, to give a little teeny synopsis of it, it starts, oh, in the beginning of it, I really had to be tempted not to start this book with him, the sound of bam, 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 with him knocking on the door. Because, when he comes to the spa to tell, the entertainer, the Paris entertainer, that he's leaving, that he has to go. I was really tempted. I actually wrote it, but I think I took it off because Native Son starts with the sound of an alarm clock. And once again, the tell not, the show not tell is that it's a mother and a daughter and two boys, her two sons, and they live in one room. They live in one room. So the alarm clock rings and they have to turn their heads while the two women get dressed. And the mother and the daughter sleeping in the same bed, and the two boys are sleeping in the same bed. What happened to the father? We don't know. I don't remember. But it's time for me to read it again with a different attitude, especially now that I've finished my own book. I think if I started to read it again, I'd see it whole different, because like I said before, I read it every few years. I read it again, and every few years I see something else. Um, so that just goes to show. And then what happens is how really poor they are there. I don't know. I can't remember what happens to the father. I really don't. Um, is the place is galvanized into action because a big rat is in the room, and the and Bigger Thomas goes to they kill it. Him and his brother kill this rat, and he goes to scare his sister with it. And evidently, he's like a troublemaker, like we would call a thug, a hood rat, that we would call today. He doesn't go to school. He just kind of hangs around. His sister's kind of trying. She's taking sewing lessons. She's trying to make a little something of her. The mother's just defeated. She's just one of those women that, like I have a word for women like that. I call them reality, that they're just whipped, that it's just, it's just so much has happened to them that it's nothing left. It's absolutely nothing left. They're on automatic pilot. And that's how his mother is, that kind of a woman. And what they've been trying to do is he needs to, um, there's this job that he's been offered and he doesn't want to take the job because it's driving for a family, but he doesn't want to take the job. And it's not so much he doesn't want to take the job. I think more or less it's that his mother wants him to, his family wants him to take this job, and evidently he's going through some welfare organization, or like DSHS we have out here, work source or something, have found him this job to help him out, and the benefactor of the job, that's the man that's offering this job, is like a benefactor to the black population. Like, he um, gives money to, black schools, and does this kind of thing with no idea who these people are, who they really are. Nothing. He's just being a philanthropist, I guess, because he can be. I don't know. They don't. He doesn't really develop the white characters a lot, except the girl. Um, the So it ends up that, Bigger Thomas is like, okay, whatever, whatever, because the mother says, look, I can find a really nice place for you guys. I can get us a better apartment if you take this job. He doesn't want to take the job just because he just doesn't want to, take the job. So what ends up happening is he kind of gets bullied into it. And he and his friends, like I said, he's kind of like thugs. They do little petty crimes. They rob stores. They do this kind of thing. And what happens is, what one of the conflicts is that his gang, they want to rob a store, but they want to rob a white man for the first time. They've always been, like the riots. They don't run to Beverly Hills and riot. They riot in Watts. They riot in, where we destroy our own stuff. They don't run to, in Washington D.C. doing the riots. They didn't go to Georgetown because they knew they'd be slaughtered in the streets. But no, but they could commit the crime against on 14th Street because they knew that those were black owned businesses. So who cares? And if it wasn't black owned, it was in the black neighborhood where they could do these things. They couldn't go to Georgetown and do it. Pennsylvania Avenue and do it. But so they, and he's afraid. Bigger Thomas is afraid, and like many men like him, um, fear comes out as anger. So what he does is he deliberately picks a fight so that he doesn't get to so they don't rob the store. Put it that way. They don't end up robbing the store because he picks a fight. So, and gets in a fight with his friends. And then this is at the point where he goes back to his and decides he's going to go and take the job. Oh, and it's a very interesting scene that I find very interesting. They go to the movies. That's like the escape. And I think Native Son happens about 1940, I want to say. And of course, there was no Spike Lee. There was no, it wasn't those kind, no Eddie Murphy. It wasn't those kind of movies, wasn't any of that kind of stuff going on back then. A black person was either, in Africa jumping up and down and had somebody in a pot getting ready to cook them, or it was a Tarzan movie, or they were a maid, or they were a butler, or they were going yes them, and that's, pretty much all they were doing. Or singing, or singing and dancing, their talent being exploited that kind of way. So he goes to this movie about these, you know, white people living in this mansion and singing and dancing, and in the movie, uh, supposedly a communist, stereotypical what they were, saying that communists were, comes running in and throwing a bomb and all this crazy stuff, and he goes, okay, well, what's going on with that? And then his friend tells him, oh, that's a red, that's a communist. And the interesting thing is that Richard Wright himself was a communist. I think he got disillusioned with the Communist Party, but during this time frame, the Communist Party in the United States was pretty much a place where whites and blacks did mingle together and work, for the cause. But of course, it got distorted. So this is the first time he hears about communism. Bigger Thomas hears about communism, hears about communism and this kind of thing, and he doesn't really comprehend it. But he decides to go to this to go on and get this job because they're going to worry him. Oh, I know what it is. They're going to cut off the welfare if he doesn't take the job. Basically, they don't call it welfare then, but they were going to cut them off if he doesn't take the job. So he's backed into a corner like that rat that they killed. And he's backed into a corner, and he doesn't really, so all this pent up anger and frustration and stuff. This is the feeling. Zanzibar, stop. You know who is awake. And this is where he comes from when he goes to this person's house, and it's a big description of how the house is palatial, and it's this big house, and he doesn't really know how to. He can't find. He wants to go around to the back door. He's not really sure how to go to the back door. He doesn't want to, it's just all this stuff, and he gets to the master of the house. Stop it. He comes in to talk to the master of the house, and he's going to be the chauffeur and this kind of thing, and the uncomfortableness of it. I mean, it all comes out without it being said. And because one of the scenes is he doesn't know where to put his cap, you know and that was one of the things that I that really struck me as a indication of his uncomfortableness and his um, feeling so out of place, is that he doesn't know what to do with his hat. He's sitting there holding his cap. So I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna feed who, and then I'm gonna come back and do a little bit more about Native Son, and then I think that's it.